Yo, how's it going, folks? It's me again, your boy Tabo, and welcome to another episode, Coding for Superheroes, and I'm going to continue with Three.js. Now, today I'm going to show you how I created that bot, figure that I posted not so long ago. So yeah, it's going to be quite arduous, but I just want to show you how I did it. I mean, this was one of my, I'd say, probably first big projects, but the point was to illustrate what you can do with just plain Three.js geometry. It's all up to your imagination. So okay, I'm gonna run a server just to show you once again what the entire thing is gonna be looking like. Yes, there we go. So this is what our project's gonna be looking like. I just added this logo here just to kind of spruce it up a bit, but otherwise everything is just plain geometry. Just wanted to make it a little bit interesting. So yeah, this is what we're going to be creating today, and this is going to evolve as we're going to add a UI and all kinds of things. So yeah, let's jump right in then. Okay, so I've got my setup here. This is my basic template. I'm importing my Three.js library. I'm importing orbit control, which I always use. This is just so I can do this. And this time I'm going to use an obj loader. Okay, let me just also make this bigger so that you guys can see clearly. Okay, okay, maybe just smaller. Okay. Yeah, I've got the obj loader, which is what I'm going to be loading the logo with. So overall, this is just basic setup, renderer, perspective camera, what you're seeing. And what I've also added is just so that when I resize the window, it just happens automatically, because when I resize, like for instance, when I open the console, then the window does not resize. So it means I have to refresh every time for it to resize. So I just did this so that it just happens automatically. So you basically declare your camera aspect ratio. You do this, and then you update your projection matrix, and then set the render size, which is similar to what we did up here, like in the beginning, this kind of setup. So you just kind of repeat it over again, and then every time there's a resize, then it just calls this function. Okay. And yeah, our orbit control. If you've been watching some of my tutorials, then you should be familiar with the setup. If not, then I would say, go to the first tutorial, then it will, because there I kind of at least explain some of it a bit, but all of this is basic. And also, once again, reminding that this is not a newbie tutorial. So if you are new to Three.js, then check out my beginner tutorial. Okay, I will include it in the link. I will include a link in the video description. Okay, so now let's get started. Okay, I've already done a lot of talking already. Okay, so I'll just make some space here, just so this is where we're gonna just then fill up the space with our objects and with our geometry, material, and meshes. Okay, so we're gonna create a point lighter, 3-point lighters to be specific. So I'm gonna create 3-point lighters because I'm using a 3-point light setup. Okay, to light up the entire scene basically. Okay, and then afterwards I will create a head. So this is the head geometry. This is the size for it, and this is the head material, and then the mesh. Okay, so I'm just going to create all of them before, and then afterwards then we will add them to the scene. and then start positioning everything. Okay, so that's how the whole process is gonna go. So I've created the head, well, created the mesh for the head. Next is we're gonna create the right eye socket. The right eye socket is this thing over here. So that's that. So far we've created the head and that. Okay, by the way, this is just another server running. So this is running from a different script, not the one that we're creating right now. The one that we're making right now is empty. It's just blackness. Okay, so next, then we're gonna create another eye socket, but this time it's the left eye socket. And then we create the right eye. So pay attention to these values, because this is the size of all of these of the geometry. So now we create a right eye, then we create a left eye. Then next up is the nose. We create our nose, and then we create the neck. Next up is the mouth, and then comes the torso. So I'm just doing it this way because when I add all of this, all these meshes into the scene, it just looks like a mess because they're all positioned in the same spot. They're all at the origin, so it wouldn't make sense. So I'm just putting them all in here, and then once we're done with that, I'll add them to the scene and then position them, and then we can then have a look at the progression. Okay, so I just created the torso, and next is the right shoulder ball joint. So this is, yeah, exactly what it says. This will be like the shoulder joint. So it's a sphere, which is where the shoulder and the arm will be connected. Okay, so we've got that. So on the right shoulder, we're going to create a ring. So create a right shoulder ring, and then we create a left shoulder ring. And next up, we create the right upper arm. And then we create the left upper arm. So, you know, in contrast to using 3D software, this is also one thing that is important to be aware of, that using Three.js, you know, it's pretty raw. So you're coding everything by yourself, like from scratch, you know, just to put a geometry into the scene, you have to do it by code. Whereas if you're using 3D software, then you've got your user interface and your gizmos, your transformation tools, where you can just, you know, at the click of a button, add some geometry and add a material and start, you know, changing stuff around. Okay, so yep, hope you are keeping up. This is, I've created, first we created the, let me see. Okay, the right shoulder ring, left shoulder ring, and then the upper arm, right upper arm, left upper arm, right elbow joint, right elbow ball joint, and then left elbow ball joint. Okay, so now after that, then we're going to create the spine column. So far we've, yeah, this is the spine column over here. So that's the part that we're adding right now. So we're adding it one by one, so it's not the entire thing. So that's just like the first ring or torus that we just created. So that's spine column 1, and then 2. Three. 4. Okay, 5. Okay, I'm gonna try. I hope well, I don't want this to be too tedious, so I don't want you to sleep on me. So that's why I'm also creating it this way, just copying and pasting, because yeah, if I had to do this manually again, it would take forever. Okay, and I don't want to put you through that. As long as you can see the code, that's the most important thing. So okay, so now we're gonna create the right upper leg, and then left upper leg, and then create the right knee joint. Left knee joint, and then the lower leg, got the right lower leg, and then the left lower leg. And I've noticed that with the tutorials that I've created, the past few days, or I'm not even sure if with the ones that I created before, that if I was commenting, I noticed, because I have the bad habit of not commenting, which is not a good practice. And at work, or in real life, or big projects, where you're getting paid, commercial projects, then yes, commenting is essential, because when you come back to your code, you want to know what you were doing. And yeah, when you're working with other people, of course, you want them to know what it is that you're doing. So I noticed that yes, I haven't been commenting much. So with this one, luckily I actually did comment when I first created it, which is good. I should just keep up with the habit. Okay, so let me see. Left foot, and then we're gonna create. Now we've got the right lower arm. Okay. And our right lower arm, then it's got left lower arm. Okay, excuse this. I don't know if this has been consistent, because I haven't been paying attention to that. But yeah, if this is sometimes, yeah, because this one said right lower arm, which is wrong. It's supposed to be left. So the worst thing that you can do is add like confusing commenting, like wrong commenting, basically, because that's even worse. And then you're better off not even commenting instead of writing wrong commentary. Okay, right wrist. So this is right wrist, and now we've got left. Good. Palm. I've got our left palm. Okay. Okay, we've got our right knuckles, and then let's create. It's not actually knuckles. I think it's just a block, really, but it's supposed to represent knuckles. Okay, got a thumb base. Well, I guess you're learning human anatomy in the process. Okay, so now we're gonna create our fingers. And these are mannequin fingers. Okay, so now I've got a right thumb. Now we've got our left thumb, and then and now we're just gonna create the base, where the platform where the character will be standing. Okay, so that's the top part of the platform, because it's got like a double base. That's that. That's the top part, it's the bottom part, and then we're gonna create a background. Okay, so let's add a background. That's gonna be, we're gonna be using a dodecahedron. Creative. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Okay, the rest of the stuff don't need. Okay, so now we've got all that stuff in there. So now what we need to do is we need to then start adding it to the scene. I'm just gonna basically copy all that stuff, right? Because I don't want to do it one by one again. It's way too tedious. I really don't want to bore you guys, okay? I just want you to see how, well, the whole process, how I did it, but I don't have to go through each and every little thing. So this is the light setup. So I'm adding the light over here. Camera holder. Okay, these are, don't need them because don't have them in the scene. So we've got a head, we've got our nose, we've got our mouth, right? Eye socket. So what I did here, like the ones that go together, I just added them all at once. With scene.add, you can actually add more than one mesh. So yeah, it's, I would advise it to do so, like for instance, so that at least when you need to fix something like this, then you know that they're all in just one place, so you can come and locate them all here. Otherwise, then your file is also quite long. So this is basically it. Everything that we created, we just added it. Okay, we just added it to our scene. So I think that's pretty straightforward. Nothing complicated there. Okay, so now we're gonna start then positioning everything. Okay, so for my lights, this will be the setup. Okay, so these are the values or the positioning for the lights. This is the light, the first light, light 2 and light 3. And then the second one, then we're gonna go to the head. So this is the positioning for the head and scaling. And then I'm gonna take the eye socket. So this is the right eye socket and left eye socket. These are the values for that. Next is the right eye and the left eye. So there you go. There are the values for that. And so now next is, okay, so these are the values for your nose, the mouth, neck, and torso. Next up is the right shoulder ball joint. So that's that right there. And next will be the right shoulder ring, right shoulder and left shoulder ring, that over there. Right and left upper arm, there you go, over there. So it's that over there. Okay, so now next is our spine columns. So yeah, so these are the values for spine column. Spine column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So next will be, so over there, there you go. The right lower leg and left lower leg. Then we have our ankle, our right and left foot, right lower arm and left lower arm. So you can imagine if, when you have to figure out all these values, how long that takes. I mean, that's quite an arduous process, but don't say I didn't warn you. Okay, so that's that. Right and left palm. So we've got right and left knuckles coming up. This is like Lego, but with Three.js, just putting stuff together. So I've got a right thumb base and left thumb base. Okay, these four, they're a bit kind of mixed up, but it doesn't matter as long as you can see what they are. It's the right thumb and left fingers. Oh, so yeah, right fingers, right thumb, and left fingers. And next is, oh, let's just say the left thumb. Got our left thumb over there. And we say the card top base, bottom base, and then background. So this is the character top base, character bottom base, and now the background. Okay, so yeah, we are halfway there. So now we've got that. Everything is positioned and added to the scene. So let's run our server and let's have a look. Okay, first I need to switch this one off. I'll stop the server right there and I'll run it here. So I'm running it on local, no, HTTP server. It's running on port 8080, so should be the same for you. And lesson 5. Let's see if we have any problems. Object not defined. Okay, yeah, that probably makes, okay, where is it? At 310. 310 says object not defined. Okay, yes, I have not defined this yet. It will make sense later, because yeah, when we import our OBJ model, then yes, we're going to be using that object. But for now, it's not necessary. So we'll come back to that one. Okay, so cool. So now we've got our scene, but it's not really working properly. Okay, so that's our background, and I can see some stuff there, but it's just not really looking too great. Okay, let me have a look. What could the problem be? Maybe, oh yeah, okay, I think this is the part that I missed out. Okay, the camera. Okay, I'm going to add the camera, and then it will look at the spine column position, the transform settings for the position. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Cool. Okay, so yeah, it is working. So here we go. That was easy. I mean, you guys kind of get the easy version. Okay, if you thought that me copying and pasting was tedious, imagine what it was like having to figure out the right positioning for all of this stuff. And when I was doing this, also, I was not aware of the mesh attach. Like, I did not know about it. So everything that I did here is, yeah, it was pretty, you can say, it's pretty primitive in a way, because with mesh attached, some things could have been a lot easier. Like, for instance, I could just use one, like the ball joint, for instance, and I could then add everything to it. So it will also kind of serve as the, what do you call, when you rig, then yeah, sure. So everything would be centered here. So this would be like the pivot that I could also use to animate the entire thing. So if I've got this part, then I could also just copy it and then flip it to the other side, what do you call, like mirror it to the other side. Yes, I could do it that way, but then I was not aware of this, so this is how I did it. But yeah, you get to learn. That's the whole thing, so you get to learn by doing things the wrong way and then knowing how to do them the right way, and life goes on. Okay, so yes, like I said, we are halfway there. So that is there, our base is there. Yeah, everything is looking okay. So now, next we're gonna import our logo model. Okay, so for that to happen, then we need to use the obj loader. So we're gonna then import the obj loader module. Okay, I've already got it. Okay, so there it is. And what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna create then that object that I just commented out just a while ago. Yes, this object over here. Okay, so I guess I can just create it over here. That's fine. So I'll say let object, and then I will then use its value later. Okay. So how to load an object, if you also want to really learn how this stuff works, you can go to, I'm just going to bring this over here. If you go to Three.js examples, as you can see, I've got a whole lot of stuff. So you go to loader obj and then click on that. Okay, so it will open up the script or the code for you. So if you have a look at the code, then this is basically the process. Okay, so you first create a load model function, All right, and then you create a manager. Okay, so the manager will then use your load model, and then so basically yeah, you can copy all of this stuff and then paste it into your code, because this is basically how you load your model. So that's what I'm gonna do, but I've already got it copied on my other file, so I'm just gonna do it from there. Okay, so underneath it, this is where I'm gonna copy and paste the code. Wait. Okay, so this is the advantage of copying and pasting. Okay, so like I said, we create our load model function, and then inside, then we can already traverse, because this is how it's going. So it's going to be in here. So this is what's going to do all the managing to make sure. Basically, this is what manages the loading or the importing of your model. Okay, so when it's done, then you get confirmation here. And this is supposed to handle all your errors, even though there is really nothing. But I guess usually you would then console log something there, you know. Okay, so yeah, that's that. So what we're doing here is that we're gonna traverse the object. The object is basically like almost like a scene with the children in it, and inside those children, this is where all your meshes are. Okay, so what I'm doing here is that I'm traversing the scene and then going through the children, and then for every child I'm gonna set up this material. Okay, so I've got already the colors and how I want my material to look. So for every child that is named Cape, this is not every child, there's only one. For the one that's named Cape, this is what I'm gonna assign it, and for the frame, this is the assignment for it, and for the rest of them, they're gonna have this. Okay, so that's what's happening there. And afterwards, then I'm just gonna take the whole scene, which is like an object, basically that's what that is, and then I'm just gonna position it so it all kind of gets positioned as a group. So then I've got that. Here I was just logging because I had some issues, but yeah. And then I added to the scene. Okay, so according to this, then everything should be working. Okay, so let's test it out. See if there are any errors. Oh yeah, okay, my bad. One thing that I forgot is to actually load to have the model in the folder, because I was working from a different folder. So now I just brought the script here, but it does not know where this is. Okay, so now I have to bring this here. Okay, so let's go to my setup. I'm just gonna do that quickly. So I'm just gonna copy the whole folder, and then I'll just copy it in here. Okay, so what I can do then is just change this. And it should work, I think. Yes. Model 100% downloaded. So there we go. So yeah, so this is our model, and it's got a cool logo on it, on its chest. So yeah, well, it seems to have been a lot easier than I thought, but it also on some level seems to have been quite a drag. I don't know how you felt about it, but anyway, you can please comment, like, subscribe, do what you gotta do, help me grow my channel, because yeah, there'll be lots of cool stuff coming, you know what I mean? I'll be keeping it original, fresh, and yeah, motivational, you know, because yeah, it's not just about coding, but yeah, it's about human stuff, man. You know, got to learn how to stick to our goals. You know, how do we cope when times are tough, stressful? But anyway, that's a talk for another time. So with all that said, I hope I did not forget anything. Okay, but yeah, love and peace. I'm out.